Recent polls have shown that for many people, global warming is a growing concern, yet it is not a top priority. According to Forbes, 60% of Americans continue to believe that effects of global warming are happening or will begin to happen during their lifetimes. But very few claim to worry a great deal about it. In classic American fashion, we are holding off on solving these problems, so the future generations are just going to have to find a way to survive. And obviously, Americans could never contribute to such huge problems. Driving cars and farming with chemicals and factory emissions obviously cannot pollute the environment and cause climate change in the general public's eyes. And it seems that is why 40% of Americans don't believe that humans contribute to global warming. I will admit, those little elementary school gardens counteract climate change with the abundant amount of oxygen they produce, so Americans are confident that they are combating this issue. Most Americans thought that the economy, good jobs, how the federal government is working, ISIS, equal pay for women, foreign affairs, taxes, immigration, Obamacare, income and wealth distribution, and abortion and access to contraception were all more important than the global warming problem, which ranked dead last. So basically, being drowned by rising sea levels, or being burned by raging forest fires, or experiencing dangerous heat waves caused by global warming is totally unimportant to Americans. It fascinates us how brave Americans are in the face of this impending problem. So we took to the streets to interview a couple people about their views regarding the validity of global warming and how important it should be considered and what the government could do to solve the climate change problem.
Sir, we stopped by to ask you a few questions on your views on global warming. So do you mind telling us what you think?
Not at all. Well, I think global warming is real, but the government's trying to cover it up by blaming it on our use of guns. They're trying to limit the use of our good old gun. And I'm telling you, it's a trick. They're trying to trick us into not using them. And they say that they're giving off emissions more than our good old pickup trucks that we driving around to get the game fields and the forests, to hunt for our animals. I think it's real, but I think it's the government's way of covering up because they want to restrict our gun use, and they can't do it any other way.
Okay, thank you for your input.
Honestly, I don't really know why the government is spending so much time trying to work with global warming when they should just legalize marijuana, because it would save so much money and it would be so great for the environment because there would be more oxygen. Honestly, the government should just legalize all drugs to save money and use that money to plant more marijuana and world peace. Because world peace is
So honestly, I don't know why global warming is such a big deal. Wouldn't it just solve itself? Because we learned that when it gets hot, ice melts. So the icy water would basically just cool down the warm ocean water, right?
Well, I think it's important to know that the
Okay, well, I don't know why scientists think this is such a big deal. I don't know why people don't want warm weather. Do we want another polar vortex?
Do you mean polar
I'm-
vortex?
I can't believe you're so embarrassed by this technical terminology. Polar vortex. It caused the blizzard. Gosh, ignorant.
As emphasized through various interviews and questionnaires, the public must be thoroughly informed of current environmental issues and how the changes in climate can adversely affect both the communities and the individual's health. 30% of the world's population is under the age of 18, and many of these young people can be affected by the myths perpetuated by the media, their parents, and their peers. Global warming and climate change are extremely harmful to the environment, and the next generation must be educated on how to stop it. Climate change can cause higher rates of natural disasters, increased sea levels, ocean acidification, species extinction, agricultural harm, and many other adverse effects. Our interviews show the ignorant views about climate change that many youth hold today. To solve this issue, better education on climate change is imperative, which should start at a young age. Students should learn about what global warming is and isn't and how to reduce their own environmental impact. If educational policies are put into place, we as a society will move forward on the issue of climate change. Global warming is an issue to combat now, not in 50 years when the damage is already done. Sarcasm is used in the line, and obviously Americans could never contribute to such a huge problem, and the lines following that one. Obviously, humans have a huge role in promoting climate change as they do much to pollute the environment. It is implemented to demonstrate the outright disregard for humans towards the environment. Americans, in particular, are slow to take responsibility for serious issues and likewise may refuse to acknowledge their part in causing global warming. Sarcasm shows how ignorant claims are that humans do not contribute to climate change. Understatement is employed to discuss the case of elementary school gardens. Those gardens are minute in comparison to all of the other vegetation in the world, so they would be virtually unable to help combat global warming on their own. The scale of global warming is deliberately minimized to demonstrate how Americans think small-scale solutions can solve a monumental problem like global warming. Irony is implemented by having a person truly ignorant to the workings of global warming critique a scientist's alleged ignorance in regard to the polar vortex. In fact, because the girl is confusing polar vortex with polar vortex, she is exhibiting actual ignorance. It is ironic that an incompetent person criticizes a knowledgeable scientist, which also demonstrates how illogical it is for news channels to pay more attention to the general public rather than educated, prolific scientists with extensive knowledge about meteorology and climate change when reporting information about global warming.